Hey guys, what is up? Sam or Scorpio here, coming at you with a guide on how to unlock the brand new hard shutdown challenge inside of World War II Zombies on the Shadow Throne. This has just been discovered and I have actually beat it for the first time today in, I believe, just over 30 minutes, taking actually the second place on the 4-player leaderboards, which was just awesome, just behind Smart Guy's team. We did a really good job, and I want to break down for you the entire strategy that we used to get that done and get that under the 33-minute mark, which is actually what this challenge requires. Firstly, you're definitely needing 4 players for this. This is virtually impossible without 4 players. It's hard enough to do with them, and you are going to need an excess of consumables, primarily in the power-up kind of area. And yeah, I'm going to talk you through each of the class setups. But yeah, let's get into the video. So the first of the class setups that we will be using will be run by 2 players, and they will be running Shell Shock. Now, in terms of mods, they will be running Protector, because that will give a piece of armor to the nearby teammates when it's activated. Great in the boss fight. Sustain Zone to hold all the zombies in place so that you can focus on the boss, again in the boss fight obviously. And Specialist Training, just so it can recharge faster. You and your teammate are going to be kind of cycling that out to make sure it's constantly active so that all your team can put all your focus into damaging that boss. The second class is actually going to be using the Frontline Special, and it will be using Determination so that you can get armor every time it's activated. You're going to be using Vicious so that you get triple damage when it's active, and Team Effort because that means all the teammates nearby will get that triple damage bonus, allowing you to all do even more damage to that boss. And yeah, that's going to be, that person is obviously going to have a lot more zombies when it's activated, but as long as you use it in conjunction with the Shell Shock, you will be fine. And the final class is a Free Fire class. This person will be using Ammo Carrier so that when it's active, more ammo will be given to their teammates nearby who obviously don't have this, so will be running out of ammo. You're also going to be using Lucky Crit to do bonus critical damage, and Specialist Training so it's active more frequently. And yeah, this person's role is going to be doing a lot of damage to the boss. There's going to be a lot of priority around that, and this is between that and the front line. That's just going to allow you to do the most possible damage. It's important to note that all 4 of these classes will be using the same starting weapon, which will be the 9mm sap. And for grenades, I would recommend stickies. I think they are the best option. In terms of your sap pistol, do not give it to the smuggler or replace it at any time. This is critical. This is the best weapon for this boss fight, and this is how you are going to get this done. So whatever you do, don't replace it or you're going to have a very hard time in that boss. And now there is the consumable setup. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you are going to need a lot of these. Now obviously there's going to be nukes in double points. Now these obviously, basically the recommendation for this is that you can use these in conjunction. So you activate a double points, then you activate a nuke, get the whole team a big bonus of points. But the thing is as well, you are going to want to make sure you have spare nukes so that at the end of the rounds when you're looking for that straggling zombie, you can just kill it with a nuke, end that quickly, because you cannot be affording to lose that precious time. Now obviously they are the 2 most important power-ups, and the more of them you can have, the better. But if you don't have them, there's other critical things that you will be wanting in that boss. There is full meters. Full meters are going to be incredibly helpful so that if for some reason you're out of Shell Shock, you can get that active. Also max ammos, the SAP doesn't have a wall buy in the boss like the MP40 or the FG. So you are going to be running out of ammo on it, so you're going to be needing that max ammos. If at any time one of your players is running out of ammo, just pop one, don't hesitate to, otherwise you're going to be losing a lot of damage there. But in the event you are very low on consumables and you can't really afford to have more than 1 player who's kind of a weak link on these like this, I'd recommend they take skeleton keys to help with doors a bit, or refund coupons for Pack-a-Punch. These, again, you just need to kind of have a limited amount of these people. You can only really have 1 in your game. So as long as the other team have some extra uses and plenty to cover the whole team, you'll be fine and you can afford to kind of carry this person through it. So now that's all out of the way, let's actually get into our strategy guide. So first off, round 1, start a timer as soon as everyone's spawned in. Seems obvious. Remember, in terms of setting up, you're actually only going to be taking 2 perks into the boss fight. These are Double Tap and Stamina Up, as well as you're also going to be making sure you're taking your Wunderbuzz and the Pack-a-Punch 9mm sap. You will be getting these as you go across the game. I won't be talking specifics about when you get them in this guide. Just share about points as you need to make sure everyone can get set up properly as you go along. Don't be waiting till the end to do that. That will fuck you over really bad. But yeah, let's just get started on how you handle each round. So starting off round 1, you're just going to work through it as quick as possible, and then towards the end you're going to pop a double points and then a nuke as soon as the last zombie has been killed. That will get you 800 points bonus free per player. The more nukes, the more players you have with a nuke, the better, so that you can get even more. If you can be getting like 2,400 per player right off the bat, that would absolutely be insane. But either way, you should now be able to get the points to go and get most of the map open at least. I'd recommend your focus should be on opening up through the theatre and then into the church. That's obviously priority, and then also quickly into round 2 start working at the museum. Now I would actually recommend that whilst 2 of your players go off towards the church to get things started off over there, 2 stay by the radio so that one person can be entering things into the radio and the other can be covering them as they do it. So the person who is actually entering into the radio, they are going to tell the people at the church what the model number on the radio is, so they can be given the code to enter in, get that entered in, get those Russians contacted, and then one of the people from the church can go and just immediately fire those flares to get the sizzler coming in. Now it is also important that generally whilst this is all going on, one of the players should be going onto the map and working at getting the bowl. Now you will be actually seeing on screen, credit to Umpum for giving me this list. These are the list of all the locations that you can actually plot on the map that will then get the cupboard to open so that you can get the bowl. Now just generally try through all these. The Morse code is not worth wasting time over. It's going to waste you too much time. Just work through these. If you don't get any of these, I'm sorry, but I think it will have to be a restart for you unless you know of any others that I don't cover in this guide. And if you do, make sure to leave a comment down below so that I can know about those too. And yeah, it's very important that generally your team has to be very coordinated during this, and everyone has to understand the steps. This is not an Easter egg guide. You need to know what you're doing here. So obviously once the sizzler spawns in after the flares have been fired, make sure every person is near an armor station, and one person should be down by the wonder weapon room. And yeah, whoever it goes to, melee kill them so that the heads can actually be collected, and then another person can go to the museum and place the bowl and the napalm head into the scale, and then yeah, you can start charging that with souls. You need to keep this very optimized, so as soon as the ball's acquired, make sure that's placed down before the sizzler comes in, so that head is actually going to go into the armor machine. Obviously I'm hoping you generally understand how that works, but whoever's down there needs to go and get the wonder weapon built ASAP, get the smuggle code to pass on to their team to get that entered in, and also make sure to check the wee pile of bullets on the table so you can tell which type of weapon they have. I actually have a guide link down below so you can actually figure out which weapon they have. I'm not going to go into that fully in this guide. That's kind of a separate thing, which, well, yeah, like I said, it's linked down below. Whatever you do, don't replace your SAT for this, replace your wonder weapon. Now, before you actually reach round 5, I really hope you haven't reached round 5 by now, but make sure you are using your wonder weapon ammo as you go along to charge up the drop pods. Generally, you're going to have very limited ammo for charging them, so just as you go along, be charging them. Then when you reach round 5, obviously you'll get a max ammo at the end. And it is very important that all your melee weapons are built within the 10-minute mark. You only have 10 minutes to get them built. Otherwise you're going to be struggling. 10-12 minutes is probably as far as you can actually afford to stretch. And make sure they are also all built by kind of early in wave 8 so that you can afford to be doing pest souls on wave 10. You don't want to be wasting any time on that whatsoever. And now obviously once the wonder weapon is built, someone should probably get to work on opening PAP immediately. That is very important. And yeah, once the souls are also charged in the museum, I'm kind of, I'm going between parts here because you need to understand generally how this works. But once all the souls are charged up in the museum, take the axe and go and place that in the holder immediately. And now obviously your next focus is actually going to be on the knife. So make sure to go into the projector room and get that all set up, and then get to following the green dot around the map, get that charged up, and yeah, obviously you can get your safe code from there. You're going to have to make sure that you are keeping a very careful count here. If you aren't keeping a careful count and you should happen to lose count, you may very well be screwed, guys. You can't afford to lose count, otherwise the whole run is probably going to be fucked, unfortunately. Once you have this code, you should make sure you have someone who's very experienced at getting the safe and can get it first time. Go and take that code, get that entered in, get that person should get the dagger, and then just go again, place it in the stone carving. So now you should have 2 melee weapons in there. And now obviously as this is going along, you're kind of pushing rounds. Make sure that once you have armed the smuggler, which you should have done almost immediately after you've contacted him, make sure that you are checking each round going forward when you can give him his points in the main street. Because once that is done, you then just need to go down to the street, into his room, you need to knock on his door, and then that will open, you'll kill the worstling, and you can get that bat. Then you just need to go and take that bat obviously and place it into the carvings. At this point you should be starting to work on souls. Firstly, you should be obviously focusing zombie souls. Make sure if you're below round 8, just start pushing some rounds a bit, work very fast, get into round 8, make sure the zombie souls are kind of filled by late wave 8, early wave 9. Then wave 9 you kind of train around and get ready for Sizzler to come in. Now if you actually shoot the fuse box, a Geist bolt will come down almost immediately and turn a zombie each time into a Sizzler, which is, that's just what I kind of call the fiery things. Sorry about that if you don't know them as that. But yeah, the fuse box, every time you hit it, it will trigger turning one into a flaming zombie. So then just take it over, charge it into assault, get back to training, and repeat. Make sure someone is training by the fuse box. I'd say that's the best way. Do it, not the fuse box, sorry, the flare box. And then you just kind of, yeah, you just work through that until that's eventually filled. If you're below wave 10, which I should really hope you are, just finish wave 9 very quickly and then massacre some pests by that doorway until it opens, at which point make sure to keep one pest. Now you should have one player go and take that pest and train it by the drop pod. That is very, very important that not everyone goes in there, because then one person can be by there, and once the blade puzzle has actually been complete, you can kill that zombie, get a max ammo, and get into that boss fight. But now going back to the other perspective, obviously, of being in the blade room. Now those 3 players are going to go down, and they're obviously going to do the whole thing with the statues. They need to know the raven placements, like the back of the hand. And they need to be using the site, which will be linked down below, created by Giovanni. This is a tool which will actually allow you to basically figure out how you are going to have to shoot these different statues to make them face the front to actually solve your puzzle. And yeah, that's kind of about how it works. You just need to use this site. This site is basically key. You can have it on mobile, you can have it on Windows, you can have it on Mac, just anything. I'll kind of talk you through how it works. Basically, you select which of the walls you're on. If you're on the first, second, on the third or fourth, you select that in the top tab. And then there is the actual statue positions, where you just kind of have to set your statue positions and then solve. It will tell you which to sort, what you need to shoot, in what order. Make sure you follow the specific order you're given, the exact number of turns, and that will get you it perfectly. Now, as soon as that is done, you need to make sure by this point you should be probably at least absolute tops around the 22-minute mark. If you're not, then well, you need to pick up the pace, because you might be struggling to get this finished. Now every player needs to get quickly over towards that pod, kill the last zombie immediately, and then just everyone run in there and start charging up. And now you will be going into the boss fight, guys. This is the exciting bit. This is the bit you've all been building up to. Now, obviously 3 of you, the people who went down, probably picked up the blade. The person who didn't, I'd recommend the knife. Probably the best option, so they can get armor back if they want it. I know there isn't a lot of good options of the other 3, but I'd say the knife probably is the best of them. Now, during the boss, you need to make sure all 4 players are focused around dealing the most damage possible. None are going to be wasting any time training. Now, the 2 players who have shell shock should be kind of alternating out, making sure they're keeping coordinated so that you don't accidentally pop 2 at once. You just need to kind of keep killing whilst it's not active to get that charged up, whilst also making sure you're dealing damage into boss. The free fire player should be using their ability as often as you possibly can to pump as much damage as you can into that boss. And the frontline player should only really use that while sustain zone is active, because otherwise they're going to have a lot of zombies coming for them. They're going to have issues there. That's obviously also going to get some armor, and all the nearby players are going to be doing a ton of bonus damage. So yeah, you just need to be generally switching out your abilities, making sure you're using them constantly. You can also use full meters if you need to. If anyone at any time is running out of ammo, use a max ammo. Don't hesitate to, just use it. That's your best chance of getting stun. You'll be constantly doing damage. Remember not to waste your ammo, because during the boss's first phase, he can only take damage during or just before charging. In the second phase, it's only whilst he's shooting his cannon, and in the third phase, whilst he's in his electricity. You obviously want to use as much sap ammo as you can during these times to do the most damage, but also the wonder weapon is a very solid option. That will do a lot of damage, and you can actually recharge it off zombie. Little tip when it comes to the wonder weapon throughout this: if you actually, whilst holding the wonder weapon, then get out your melee, if it's the knife, and then perform the whole execution with both triggers at the same time, if you manage to salvage ammo, it's actually going to get you 50 ammo, charging up half your wonder weapon. That's a great tip throughout the entire Easter egg. That is very helpful when it comes to charging the pods. Generally in the boss fight, it's just going to get you a lot of ammo on that, and that thing will do a lot to the boss fight. Now once you see the boss die, all 4 players, you have done it. You just need to pound it into that pod. Everyone get into the pod, get waiting, maybe pop a shell shock if you need to, and just wait until it drops you down. And yeah, if you are under 33 minutes, you have just got this challenge, so congratulations. This was not an easy one. I hope you guys have managed to follow this along well. Hope this has really helped you, because I put a lot of time and effort into making this guide as good as possible. Cheers to Unpunk for helping me out with some of the details. His channel will be linked down below. I'd also recommend his Easter egg guide if you don't understand any of the steps properly. That was brilliant and very helpful for me when I was starting to understand some of the steps myself to be able to manage them solo. So make sure to check him out. Also credit to Giovanna for that incredible site. Once again, linked down below. And yeah guys, that's going to wrap up this guide. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, make sure to smash a like down below to show your support. Leave a comment down below and tell me if you get this challenge. Any tips and tricks for me generally making guides in the future, and if you have any other tips for other players just about to attempt this, then make sure to leave them too. I'm sure that would be very appreciated. But yeah, like, comment and subscribe for more. I'll see you on more guides on World War II Zombies. Bye.